Hi there, welcome back to the Board Game Specialists. I'm Carla.
And I'm Melanie.
And today we are talking about our top 9 cozy games. But before we get into that, we have some news. We actually have a sponsor for the channel, and they are called Games and Couples by Oshrat Online Counseling.
Yes.
So very soon we hope to get his name again?
Colin.
Colin on. He's been on with us before, but
a few times, yeah.
To talk about a whole episode, which we will speak of soon. But that is so cool that we have a sponsor. And
I feel so official now.
Yeah. Exactly. It's very neat.
Yeah, so be sure to check the links below. We'll make sure that we add links to the Games and Couples. And just to talk a little bit about what they do, because they're a counseling company, so they do all sorts of counseling. But one of the departments that they concentrate on is couples counseling. And what's really cool about them is they utilize board game as one of the main tools to help couples come together or help couples kind of deal with ways of kind of conflict resolution in a controlled environment, like with a game, so it's just really cool what they do. So I mean, we've been very working closely with Colin, like you mentioned. He's been on our channel before. It's just neat that they're official sponsors now, so very exciting.
Yeah, and what a cool company using games to counsel people. That's so interesting and neat. I love it. All right. So, cozy games. Before we get into some fresh plays that we have played, what did this mean to you? Like when you
Well, it's funny because we're like, so okay, we're doing top 9 cozy games. I'm like, okay. Like, what is that? And I gotta say, my list was eclectic. What made it to the top 9 is kind of more similar, but I had stuff in there like Arch Ravels, which didn't make the top 9, is further down, but it has like a cozy theme to it, so I included that in there. But I also kind of included games that are easy to play, like like a game that you can open up and get playing, don't have to review rules, don't have to review setup, you're so comfortable with it that you can just get it playing. And I've also kind of went with more of games that are low conflict, just because I think as soon as you get into like deep strategy conflict games, you lose that cozy feels in my mind as to what a cozy game. Agree. And I'm just looking at my list. Did I follow this? But yes, kinda. So there's one game that's questionable, but it's so pretty that it feels cozy.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I was actually shocked. I was actually shocked what my number 1 was, but it's interesting. No, I went through a lot of my games and then I started picking all my favorite games, and then when I went through the Pub Meeple and I was comparing them, I would make myself go, okay, no, that I do feel cozy playing Everdell, but there's a little too much little too much strategy where it's not, where I can just like chill and play. Like I do want to think that through a little more. Whereas the games I picked, I feel like I can have conversations during the game. I feel really chill and relaxed, and I'm not doing too much thinking. They're almost like when you drive to work and you don't even think about it anymore. These are the kind of games for me where it's like I don't have to really put a whole lot of thinking into them, but they are still satisfying, and they just make me feel warm and cozy.
Nice. Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of my, top games I did leave out. And I did not put Azul on this list because I probably have that on every other single list that I've ever listed. But it does make me feel cozy, and it probably would have been my number 1, but I didn't put it on this one just because I put it on.
Because it's overexposed.
I've used it too many times. So, yeah.
Nice.
All right. Well, before we get into those, what have you been playing lately?
Well, so I've been playing, like, this year, except for, like, this week. I kind of slowed down this week. But January so far, there was lots of plays. And this month, too, like, I finished work around 2:15. So there's still a lot of days left even before anybody comes home. So then I've been kind of playing some of my unplayed games as well, because we've done that stupid resolution where we have to play 3 games before we can buy one. So I'm feeling the pressure. So one of the ones that I played and got off the shelf of shame was Pandemic Hot Zone North America. Now, first time I played Base Pandemic, loved it. I was just blown away. It was like the first, I don't know if it was my first co-op. I think Castle Panic was my first co-op. But that whole game impressed me. I was so impressed with it. So I was like, okay, well then let's see how the Hot Zone one goes. And it's like a smaller map. It has the 3 disease instead of 4. It's just kind of like a bit more of a condensed version of it, but it plays exactly like Pandemic pretty much. And I played it, and it was just so cool. It was it's quicker, so it's easier to get it played, I guess, as well. But it's the same, so you start by spreading some of the disease out of the 3 disease. If you ever get a disease added to where there's already 3, it creates an outbreak. Outbreaks are not good. Every time you get a pandemic card, it increases how many cards you got to pull at the end, because you'll be doing your actions, then you draw different cards that'll have location cards, and you need to get 4 location cards to be able to cure the disease. And you can also bring out event cards in there, but you can also get pandemic cards. I got a pandemic card almost right off the bat, and I was like, darn. And then the pandemic card causes you to kind of create it takes all of your you take 1 card from the bottom and you add 3 disease to that one. Then you take all of your discarded location where you've added disease, you shuffle them and you put them on top of the pile. So now you're pulling 1 extra card, so you're going to be pulling 3 locations, and they're locations you've already seen. So if you haven't stayed on top of the disease, you're spreading more disease where there's already some. And I ended up losing because you lose in a few ways. If you get too many outbreaks, you lose. If you run out of a certain disease and when you need to spread it, you lose, and that's what happened with me. I was out of blue cubes and it was spreading, and we lost that way. So I can't tell for sure if it's it's so quick because we lost so fast, or if they're always play fairly quick. But I had 2 disease cured. I just had the 1 more to go and I would have won. So I really enjoyed it. It's Pandemic. It is just a game of Pandemic, but
how
quicker.
is it different than Pandemic?
You have less disease.
Oh, okay.
And it takes less cards to cure disease. I can't remember if it was 3 or 4 for this one versus
and it's
Pandemic.
5 normally in the big
Yeah,
one.
And it's a bit of a tighter map. So it's just kind of, it's just like a bit more of a compact version of Pandemic, but absolutely everything else is Pandemic.
Okay. I have it on my shelf of shame. I have to pull that off.
Oh, and it's an easy one to get played because you don't even have to learn it. You already know how to play Pandemic.
Yes, I do.
And then you just play it. So that one was one off my shelf of shame, but it was cool. I really enjoyed it. Second one, and it's another one that I got down from the shelf of shame. We almost played it at your house that one time, and that was Brew.
Yes.
And it was neat, super cool, because you have this board that has a few locations, but this is a dice worker placement game that's also kind of has an area control element to it. And what you're going to be doing is you start with 6 dice. 4 of them are your colored dice, and you have 2 that are element dice, and they're white, so everybody has the same of those ones. And then you roll them, and you'll have different symbol on it, you'll have a twig, or you'll have, I thought it was a fish, but turns out it was a rock. And you have so the different symbols that can come out, and you can place those dice on the 3, we played 2 players, so there was 3 cards, the 3 forest cards, and each forest cards also has a different element or season attached to it, but it could have multiple season. And you place the dice that would match the symbol, and placing your dice there will either give you the resource that it's connected to. So you would kind of collect a mushroom, or I can't remember all like the other things that you can collect, but you would take that resource, or you can put it on a animal one, and the animal you would kind of add into your pile of animals, and they have a special ability that does different special things. But what's cool too is like the animals are going to be worth points. You can only have so many, so you would eventually release them into the forest. But also with the forest is if you have the most dice on that location, you gain that forest, which is going to give you victory points at the end. But then if you release an animal to the matching season forest, then that animal at the end of the game is going to be worth more points than if it's not released. But then also with the resources you collect, you can brew these potions that are going to give you one-time abilities and points as well. Lee had like 100,000 potions built. It was unreal. But I had a lot more forest, but not enough to mitigate all the potions he had concocted. But it's neat. And then the dice like. I like, dice because they're not primary colors, and they're more like earthy really colors. Cool. And I just kind of was like, that's cool. Like you see the primary colors everywhere all the time, and I like them as well. But it was just neat to see kind of different type of colors. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was super simple, very straightforward game to play. It was easy to learn, but it was a lot of fun. And that was Brew. And then the last one I want to talk about, and this is I've played a few games lately where it's like, they've been in my collection for a long time. They're kind of like the older games that I've owned for a long time, and I'm keeping them. And then I've played them as oh yeah, that's why I keep this game. This is good. And I've done that with Sagarada in December, and the one that we played recently was Lanterns, Harvest Festival. And I hadn't played Lanterns in a really long time, but it is so cool. And you place, because you have these paper lanterns, and each tile, it's a tile laying game, each tile has the 4 sides, and each side is going to have a different shape and colored of paper lantern. So the shape is to help if you're colorblind. But then the way that it works is the way you place the tile, the side that faces you is the color lanterns you're going to collect, because you're also collecting these lantern cards. And then when you have different match, either one of each color, or 3 sets of 2s, or 4 of a kind, then you can trade those lanterns and take the victory points for it. So you're trying to create these different combination of lanterns. But if you place a lantern onto this, I guess you're building like a lake where you put all these lanterns because it's on water. But then if you add the tiles, I'm putting this one there, so the green lantern points me, so I get a green lantern. But I also put a red and a red that connects now, so I kind of created a red cluster, so then I get to collect a red lantern as well. And then Lily, the side that points to her was pink, so she gets a red lantern. And then Leo was the red, so then he gets the red lantern. So everybody gets a lantern every turn, but you kind of depends on what's facing you as what you're going to get. And you're trying to create kind of extra combos so you get more lanterns, so you can create these groupings faster. It's a very simple game, but it's pretty and it's satisfying to play. So that was my last one. Lanterns, the Harvest Festival.
Yeah, that one was actually higher on my list of cozy games. It was one of my first gateway games I played. And I get back to it a lot playing with people who don't play games. I'll bring that one out because it's just so pretty and easy to learn, and it doesn't take a lot of thinking, but it's still satisfies you with like some crunchiness in there. No, I really like that one. That's a good one. Awesome. All right. Well, a couple that I've been playing, I had bought a bunch of games before the new year. I had slowly been putting them in my cart and merging them in December. And then I think it was Boxing Day. There was a sale. I think I bought some there, and then just before the new year. And then I got them shipped out. So some of them came because I did some from 401 and some from Bliss. That was a long-standing order. But a couple of them that came one was Wild Tiled West. Now, this one I had been kind of passing up because it was pretty expensive for like a medium light game, polyomino game, where I love those games, but I don't want to spend an $87.99 on a game like that. So I kind of been thinking, oh, maybe I'll play it somewhere else, or I'll find it used or whatnot. But the Boxing Day sale, I think I got it under 70 or something. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's see what the fuss is about. Because a lot of people had this on their list of top 10 or just best of 2023. So I got this and I tried it out, and it was not what I thought. I thought it would be mostly about the Tetris part of it, which is, I mean, that's a slight part of it, but it's quite a different game than what I thought. You were placing these tiles, but you were trying to fill in different cities. So you have this big board in front of you, and you all have different ones. And they have different icons on them that you want to cover up. There's horseshoes that will give you negative points if they are not covered up at the end. There's 4 cities on each board, and they kind of go like in a cross. So the top, and then like the west, the east, and the south, they're kind of clumped there. And once you've filled in all of one city, you get the big points for the city, and you get some bonus points depending on what part of the game you are in. But the neat part too is you're trying to wrangle some cattle. So once you have a grouping of cattle, anywhere from 3 to 7, you can wrangle them, and you put a little cowboy boot on, and you'll get a bonus depending how many you wrangle. And then you don't want to add any more cows into those pastures because you've already wrangled that pasture. So you need to kind of put your next wrangled pastures in different spots. But you do have these partner cards, and those are kind of like end game points. And so one of your partners might be like, oh, how many pastures you've wrangled, or how many cities you have a sheriff in, or there's all kinds of different strategies and victories that like ways to victory in this game, because you could go for like trying to wrangle all this cattle. There's also these bandits that will pop up all over your board by placing tiles, or there is one on your board. So then you want to get sheriffs in line of sight of them to shoot them. And you want to try to get bullets, which is another thing you can cover up, because once your sheriff is in line of sight of a bandit that is not blocked by a cow, a building, or a hill, you can shoot it and add a bullet, and then it turns into a tombstone, and you've killed that bandit, so he's worth points at the end of the game. And you might have a partner that wants you to have killed a lot of bandits, or just to have a lot of bandits on your board. It's so neat because there's that part of it. There's buildings in some of the tiles that you build that will just give you multipliers for endgame points, or they will just give you something right away, like some more bullets. They might give you these little alleys, which are just one block, like tiles to fill in spots. Like you might need one more spot for that big 16-point city. And there's no way there's no 1 tiles on the board to draft. So you can take that alley and just plop it there and fill in that city. Or you may need to have covered a bullet, or there's gold you can cover up, because what you need for the gold is when you're drafting these tiles off these boards, sometimes there will be a cost of gold. Or if you were going down the river to get a tile, you can skip, just like a stone skipping. And every one you skip, you have to pay a gold. But there's like maybe a really good one in the middle that you want to skip a bunch to grab. So you need gold for that. It's really cool. Like, it's not what I thought, but it has all that kind of, tableau management, but yet you're still using your polyomino brain to cover things up. You also, at the end of each round, so after 4 times everybody's drafted a tile, you have a tussle, and whoever has the most bandits is going to lose some points, and whoever has the least will gain some points, but then they also gain another bandit to put on their board. So it's kind of a race that way. You're trying to not have as many, or maybe you want them, maybe your partner just wants to have bandits all over or something. There's just lots of things you can do, and each of the maps are all different. So there's a really cool solo variant that you can play with it, but even just playing it with a bunch of people, you can switch the boards around. And if you flip them over, they have a wild side. So that means there's different icons on there for everybody. So kind of like not really a player power, but a different way of scoring points. Like you could have spaceships on one of them that if you connect to, you get something. Or another one had, what did it have on it? Aliens, or I don't know. It was all kinds of different things. And it just changes the game up completely. It's really good, and I do recommend it. It will be staying in my collection. So that was Wild
funny too, because when you guys were playing it, like we have a group a chat for our gaming group that's called like the Enablers, and you guys are playing it, sharing pictures, and it just got out of control with like it was like Western.
Well, what started the chat was Cherry. As soon as we started the game, Cherry goes, "Wagons ahoy!" And now she's like, "Nope, that's not what they say." We couldn't stop laughing, so she had to put in the chat, and then it just got silly after that.
And then it was like combination of like pirate and Western terms twisted together. It's like, okay, you guys are having way too much fun. Like,
we were, I think, hopped up on sugar last night, and but it was funny when she's like, "Nope, that's not what," because she's she grew up on a farm, Ashley, so it was like, "Nope, that is not what farmers say." So then we were trying to reverse it, like, well, what would a pirate say, but with a giddy up ahoy or giddy up arr? It was just stupid. Yeah, sometimes we get silly in our chats.
Just kind of, like being on the outside is like, okay, what kind
the hell is going this? On there? Someone's drinking there. No, but it is a fun game. And it's fun to just, play we were in the roles of all these cowboys and, all that kind of stuff. But the second one I'm going to talk about is another one that I had got just before New Year's. And this one is called Empire's End. Now, I did not kickstart this, and I didn't even want to at the time. It came out on retail, and I looked at it, and I'm like, well, it kind of looks neat. Kind of looks like a Civ game, but it's made by, I'm totally blanking, the maker of Space Base and Cubitos.
Oh, jeez.
What's his name?
Okay, hold on, go on, I'll look.
Yeah, you look. Anyway, so it has a tiny bit of feel of Space Base in it, and it's a shorter, I'd say, lighter game. So I'm like, okay, and it was a really good sale at Wizard's Loft, so I bought it. And
John D. Clare,
yeah, he's a beauty. So anyway, what this game is you all have these empires of 11 tiles. And someone will shuffle up their tiles and put them all in a line, and then everybody aligns theirs the exact same way. So you will have like things like a town, a farm, a city, military, and those will be all lined up depending how you have placed them. Now, we all start out with the same, and then we start out with some resources, all the same resources, and then we just move along this board with this little tracker, and it just goes to an event kind of thing, and we all do that. So it might go to the event where something is burning. We flip a card and it says location 8 is burning. So we all put our fire, or could possibly burn. We put our fire on location 8, and then we go around the table in no thanks fashion. And well, if we do not want that to burn that part of our empire, we will place either food, a hammer, or an axe to like pay for it and say, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want that card, just like you would in no thanks. And then it goes around the table until somebody just takes it, and they get all the resources that are on it. So it could go around 10 times. There could be 30 resources on there, and you're like, okay, I'll take that and burn this part of my city, but whatever, I get all these resources. So you flip over your location that was burnt. It is now burning, and you get to keep all those resources, but you can rebuild that location. It has an amount of hammers that would need to rebuild it. Some of them are, only 3 or 4. Some of them are, 8, 9, or 10, depending how valuable that location was. So then after that, we might have a kind of income phase where we get to activate all our green buildings. Oh, and the other thing is when that person burnt their that part, they do get the card, and on the bottom is a little ability, and they get to slide it under one of their healthy locations. So now they have a new ability. So it's not always the worst thing to burn, because then you're adding to your engine, right? And so you kind of will do that. And then there's like that income phase. Then there's a phase where you can rebuild. You can either rebuild some burning, whatever locations, or you can we do have a hand of cards ourselves where we can stick under the locations to add to our engine. Now, this was the first time we had all played. I had done like a 2-player, 2-handed game just to learn it. But then I played a 3-player game, and we all did kind of different strategies. One of us literally burnt almost everything that came up. And I thought, well, maybe she's going to win because she just keeps adding cards to all her locations. I'm not going to say. But I tried to do this strategy, which was like, I'm going to try and not burn anything or as little as possible. But then I started thinking, I'm not getting the engine building, right? She's getting all these resources and she's burning. But anyway, it ended up, she burnt a little too many, I think. But I don't think that was like the wrong thing to do. I think maybe just a few less and she would have won because she would have had so much of an engine built kind of thing. But I think she ended up with 3 or 4 left. And we were all just trying different things. So it wasn't like, we knew what was the right thing to do. Because I was kind of worried after a while. I'm like, I'm not burning anything and I'm not building anything. So I'm not getting anything. But I had eventually burnt some of the buildings and then rebuilt one and kind of did some engines. I did not win the game either, but Ken won, and he had built up a bunch of military because some of the cards will have extra military on the bottom. And there is a military event where we all have to prove how much military we have, and then we can bid on adding more, and the winner will get a bunch of things and the loser has to do something. And if you're in between, you don't do either. But so that could be a strategy too. But it's interesting because I would like to play it again with lots of people. Well, I think it only goes to 4, but like 3 or 4 again, and just try a different strategy and see what will work. Because then at the end of the game, you have points for all your healthy buildings, and some of them have a 32 point value and some have an 8. So you really don't want those high city locations to be burnt because that's big points you're giving up. But then you also can have some of the cards you slide under can just be end game points. So if I've saved up a whole bunch of wheat and I get a point per wheat, and you have this little screen so nobody knows how many resources you have, because when you're bidding on them to not keep the card, then that's why it's all hidden and nobody knows what you have left. But yeah, it's neat. And I was kind of hesitant in buying it, and I thought, well, let's give it a try. It's a really good price. I could probably pass it on if not, but it's pretty neat, and I do want to try it again. That was
what was that called again?
Empire's End. Yeah,
I see Star Trek.
Star Wars. Nothing like that. It has like a Civ theme to it, but very loosely. So the other one I played, you actually have. I don't know if you got it to the table yet, but Cherry had bought it, and this is Tesseract.
Oh, yes, I haven't played it yet.
Yeah. So her and I played a 2-player. It's a co-op game. Yeah. Very puzzly. We played it at the end of the night, and kind of near the end of the game, we're like, this might be too hard for our brains at the end of the night, but we did win, and we met the victory. It's really neat, especially if you love puzzly deduction games, which I love right now.
Nice.
You start with all these dice and you randomly place them into a cube, and they form a perfect cube of, what is it, like a 4x4x4, or is it a 5x5? I'm not sure, but it is a perfect, beautiful cube with all these lovely colors like yellow and pink and purple and all kinds of things.
And bright colors too.
Very bright.
Nice, yeah.
So then you all have these little player boards, and you have 6 or 8 spots for dice. And then there's a board in front of everybody that you're trying, that's the Tesseract, or is that, no, maybe the Tesseract is the actual cube. There's this board that you're trying to get the dice from the Tesseract onto this player mat. And you want to have basically 1 to 4 in 4 colors. And once you get all those dice, you win. Sounds easy, but it's not, because in order to get them there, you have to have had like a run of the same color or a run of a different color, 3 or 4 or 5 maybe. And then you would take one of those dice and put it down there. And that's only one dice going on there. Then you would have to re-roll all the dice that you just used in that run, except for the one you put. And then they would just be set back onto your mat. And they could just be all random. And then you have to figure out, runs or sets again. But in like a true co-op fashion, there's always something negative at the end of your turn. So what you have to do at the end is pull one of the lowest, literally low as in height and lowest in number dice off the board, and it goes into this other section. Can't remember the name, what it's called, but if you ever have 3 of one number in that section, then you breach, and so you kind of move up on this negative track. And if you ever get to the end, you lose. So once you get like 3 threes there, I'm saying threes, but they are like on the dice, they show just like a connected, not a polynomial, what are they called? Parallelograms or something, which shows the connection of them. So it's not a number 3. So it's kind of a neat little art on there. But so once those get down into the, that area, you are trying to move those dice away. So if I have 2 threes, I don't want to have to pull off a third, because then I will breach. So on your turn, you have 3 actions, and you can manipulate things. So you can either manipulate one on your mat, up or down 1 pip, or you can pull one off the Tesseract and just set it on your mat. Or you can, like I said, if I have a run or a set, I can place one on there, reroll my dice. Or I could just adjust one in that area before it breaches. So you have to use your 3 actions wisely, but there's also some helper cards where if when I do put one from onto that board that will finish the game, I get to reroll dice. And depending how many dice I reroll, I get to choose one of these cards. So sometimes it's nice to just play 3 dice and put one down. You only get to reroll 2, you'll take a card. But if you wait for a big long run, then you get to reroll 3 or 4 dice. You get juicier cards, and they give you better actions. So they give you extra things to do. It's really neat. I'm really impressed with it. We liked it. And it was only 2-player. It'd be very interesting if it's harder or easier with 4. Because also when you pull off all the dice from one column on one of the Tesseract, there's like a event that happens, and it's usually bad. So you have to try to get more dice on there and not pull those ones off, because they can be very catastrophic. Is that the word? Catastrophic?
It sounds bad.
I'm trying to make catastrophe sound dramatic.
Yeah, no, it did. It sounded very dramatic. It didn't sound like a good thing at all, but
it's you will love it. And I don't know if Lee loves deduction and co-op, but it's a good, very good game for 2 people. It's nice. It's very neat. Yeah.
Well, so and it's cool too, because the tutorial for it is undiced, which makes it super easy to learn and play.
Yeah. It is.
And then it's one of those games, like, because they had it at the Calgary Game Day.
Yes.
And then they had it at FallCon. And I remember the first time I saw it at FallCon, I was playing a game. We were playing Mosaic, and I had to go to the bathroom. And it was taking a long time between turns. So I was like, okay, I'm going to run. I'll be right back. So I'm running to the bathroom, and then I stop. And I kind of run back. I'm like, what is that? And I was like, I don't have time right now, but I'll be back. It's like, but it's one of those like games that will stop you in your track, because it is so stunning.
It's neat. Yeah,
the bright really colors, the whole platform thing that the dice sits on, like, it is a good looking game.
Yeah, no, you'll love it. It's good. Yeah, so those are the games we've been playing. Now let's get into our cozy games. Do you have any honorable mentions?
Oh, I have no idea. I sent myself the 9x9 list, and I didn't send myself the other list, so I have no idea what else was on my list. And I was like, I'm trying to find it. I was like, what did I do with the list? Like, did I not send me the list and just the 9x9 pictures? I was like, well, that was silly. But apparently that's what I did. So I don't know. How about you? Do you normally have one or two?
I do have some, because this was such a hard list. I have one might be on your list, so I'm not going to mention it. I will mention it if you do. But two of them were, one was Dragon Castle, which is a abstract strategy game, but kind of has a mahjong feel to it, but you're still just kind of placing things on your tableau. It's very, very pretty and light, I would say, but it was a tad too thinky for my top 9 because yours a little bit of where I don't know if I could totally relax during that game because I do have to use my brain quite a bit. And the other one, which just didn't make my list because there's just too many of these, and this was Downtown Farmers Market. I just played this again on the weekend, and it is so cozy. And I played it with John, and it was so funny because it was the first time he played, and he started playing it, and I could tell in his brain, he's like, oh, this is going to be easy. And then all of a sudden he starts going, he's like, oh, this is a little bit thinky. And then because when a two-player game, you will draft a tile and then you will take one away from the other player. Whereas normally in a 3 or 4, you just draft, right? So there was a tile that he needed and he goes, oh, I like that one. And I said, oh, no, that one's, because it was my turn. I'm like, that one's going bye-bye. And he spits out all his drink all over the table. Like, he laughed so hard. Oh my God. I'm like, have I never been funny before?
That's so funny.
I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that was the first time I like trash talked you or something. Lucky those tiles wipe off nicely because it wasn't like you're lucky it was this game and not a game where, you know. But yeah, it was quite funny. So those two are my honorable mentions, and I have one more that might be on your list. So if you don't mention it, I'll mention it at the end.
You go. Yeah.
What was your number 9?
All right, my number 9 is Kohaku. So this one was published in 2020, created by Danny Devine. And that one, I was kind of just going through my list of games. Okay, which one makes me feel cozy? And I was like, oh, this one's a cozy game. Like, it's a tile laying game, and is it koi fish? That have different colors on it, and then you have these plants and you're creating like a grid where, you know, like you're gonna have fish, plant, and then and you're trying to create these combinations to score. And I mean, the artwork is just stunning and beautiful and just zen. Like, it has that zen feel Very to zen. It. And especially the acrylic ones that you have, where you have, because I now know every time we talk about this game, I don't think we talk about this game in quite a while though, but it's worth mentioning if you can get the deluxe version with the acrylic tiles, because the artwork is done in layers. So some of it is like underneath the water, and then some is like above the water, and you can kind of see like the layer dimension in the way that the tile was like painted or created. It is stunning, but it just gives you and it is a competitive game, and you're trying to get the best score, but it does kind of have that zen feel to it. That, to me, I think that's a cozy game. So that's my number 9, Kohaku.
Yes, and this is the one I thought would be on your list. This was the one that was my number 10, and
there you go.
I hated to not have it on my list because it is like the definition of a cozy game, and it's so pretty and nice. So yes, good choice. All right, my number 9 is probably one of the, I think I only have 2 kind of bigger medium games on this, and this is one of them. This is Castles of Mad King Ludwig by Ted Alspach, made in 2014 and then redone in a collector's version in 2022. This one, maybe would be, you could consider it thinky, but I always play it as just a relaxing, building my castle, sitting back and pricing the auctions, and I don't really put too much stress into this game where I have to overthink. I just kind of go with the flow of it. I don't have a big master plan. I just love building up this weird, unusual castle, and I love the look of it too. It just makes me feel really cozy, and it was one of my gateway games that I played back at my first cafe that always made me feel happy and brought me joy. And I think that's a part of why it makes me feel cozy. because now I can play it in my own house with anyone, and it's a good one to teach almost anyone too, because there's pretty light low rules on this. You're just basically building your castle and just having to connect doors, and then you gain points every time you do something almost, and you get these bonuses every time you complete a room. It's just so satisfying. And that's my number 10, Castles of Mad King Ludwig.
I like that. You're like, oh, is this a competitive game? Yeah, it is, but not the way I play it.
Yeah, for me.
The way I play it, it's cozy. I make a castle. Oh, look at my little room. Oh, look, there's a hallway that goes to this.
Yeah.
Was it Kathy from the board game Mechanics talks about how she plays this game? She's like, I don't care what the rules are. I'm just creating the best castle ever. Yeah. and it's going to be so pretty. And look, there's a moat.
I know. Like, I don't... this one I surprisingly do win a lot, but I don't have a plan for it. I don't know how. I think that maybe I just get lucky with things in this one. But it's just like she says, like, I just kind of, I'm like, ooh, that would be cool over here. And then it ends up giving me a whole bunch of points. I'm like, bonus!
That's great. That is a good one. I don't remember if I put this one on my list, but that is a neat game to play. That has. I gotta play this one again. It's been a while.
Yes. All
right, my number 8 is Parks. Parks was created in 2019 by Henry Aubudon, and this one is just like you're going on a hike. And you just got your 2 hikers, and then you'll go like, oh, I'm going to stop here and pick this up. It's like, oh, well, I'll go up here and then I'll grab this. And then it's like, so you just kind of move them along. Now, if somebody's there, you can't stop there unless you have a campfire. It's like, okay, you know what? Let's share a campfire. But you only have the one, so then you can't do it again. So it's kind of rondel without it being rondel, as in like you're going to go along the path, but you can't go backwards. And if you skip too far ahead, then you're gonna miss some stuff, but then you get to go and save what you really want before somebody else gets there and blocks it, right? And you're collecting all of these symbols so that at the end you could be like, oh, let's go visit this park now that we have what we needed for that. And then, so the whole concept of it, the whole theme of it is fairly so casual, and it's not a very serious kind of, I guess, deeply strategic game, right? Like, you're just going down this path. I was like, oh, and I'm going to take pictures. And that's how I win with the pictures. I'm going to take a picture of this and then a picture of that, so, but it's a very satisfying game to play. It's a very relaxing game to play, I think, as well. And that's my number 8, Parks.
Yeah, this one was definitely on my longer list, but the only reason it didn't make the lower part is I've been playing with some park sharks on BGA, so it added some stress to me because they are so good. And I'm like, hold on here. This is a chill game. Now I got to really focus. What can I take away from them? And what are they like? There's some real strategic players of this. So they have made it not cozy for me, but I'm going to get them.
That's
I'm going to
funny.
beat them sometime.
And I mean, then that's fair, right? Like, your own personal experience to a game will totally change the way you view that game.
Yeah.
Right?
I still love it, though. I'm just kidding. Yeah. They're just really good at it, and it makes me have to think more than just playing it casually. But yeah, that's a perfect cozy game. All right. My number 8 is a roll and write. And this one was one that I played at the beginning of COVID. A person who worked for the production company, she would play online with people. And so my friend Cherry and I, we would play with her online, and she would like basically have like a group play, and we would like sign on. I can't remember, did we do it through Facebook? I don't even remember, but we would play with her. And so it kind of got to be like a daily thing because we were all stuck at home. And so this is Welcome To, I should say. And this was made by Benoit Turpin in 2018. Now, so to me, every time I pull this game out, which I play a lot solo or just with anyone, it feels like I'm, I don't know, sitting on a couch doing this, because that's probably what I did when we were playing online. And I do believe that Welcome to the Moon is the better game, but that one is a lot more crunchy, and you need to do a lot more thinking. This one is just, you can sit down, and if you had a tablet, if you can play it on there, even by still playing it like online with people, but instead of writing it, you can just like enter it in there. I like to do the old school write, but and like onto the paper, but this one just always brings me like a cozy feel, and I don't need to think too much about just like the base welcome to, but I still love it. I love lining up those houses and getting the numbers, trying to get, the perfect combination of numbers, getting enough pools and parks and all kinds of things. But it'll always be nostalgic, I think, for me. And it'll always remind me of COVID, because this was one we would be like, oh, she's online at this time. Are you going to go on? Yeah, let's go on. And then we'd have a big chat with people in there and be talking to them. And then you kind of got to know these people. So we'd do tournaments and all kinds of things. And then it just sort of, it kind of spruced up our mental health during COVID, I think, too, was something to look forward to. But it was, I don't know if her name was Elle, and I don't know if she still works there, but I don't know if she had realized what she'd done for a lot of people, just to like, add something to our lives when it was just so terrible and we were stuck at home and couldn't do anything and go anywhere. It was really neat. And I always kind of remember it. I know that production company got a lot of slack for late Kickstarter fulfillments and all kinds of things, but she did a lot for that company and, went online, and she played all kinds of games too, like the Las Vegas version and all things, but it was really neat. And I'll always remember that. And that was my number 8, Welcome to.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's good. And then I think a lot of people, mostly in our group, obviously kind of turned to board gaming throughout that time. And then a roll and write is so good for that. Yeah. The first one I played, I was like, it was a video on YouTube, and it says, "Kate, grab your game and play along." I'm like, what? Like, what? Like, really? And it's like, okay. And I was like, I think that's what makes roll and write so unique to the other genre, right? Like, we're all going to be playing this different game off these similar rolls. And it was so satisfying to do that. That's cool. All right. My number 7 is kind of like a party game. And it's weird to kind of think of a party game as a cozy game, but I think this one fits just because it's just so easy to get going with it. And that's Dixit. So everybody gets 6 cards. You take one turn and you'll pick, okay, lonely. That'll be my word. And then you select these cards. And these are like huge tarot-sized cards with like these very unique type of arts. And it's just very abstract type of images that kind of, it's not even abstract is not the correct term. I don't know what that art style is called. But it's like, it has like one thing that's kind of blends into something different. So it looks like a toaster, but it's a suitcase or like, right? It's just very unique. And it can be interpreted in so many different ways. And then everybody else will add a card from their hand that would match the word or the description that was provided. Okay, so lonely. Well, this one I think would fit. And then you shuffle all the cards that got played and you put them up. Now, as the active player, you want somebody to guess your card, but you don't want everybody to guess your card. And if somebody guesses your card, you get 3 points, and they get 3 points. But if everybody guesses your card, you get none, and everybody else gets 2 points. But then if nobody guesses your card, you get no points, and everybody else gets points as well. So you want to be like, not too vague, but not too obvious either. And then be like, okay, so lonely. And then be like, oh, I think this is a good card for that. And then it turns out that there's a perfect card somebody else had, and you had no idea what they had in their hand. But yeah, that's definitely lonelier than mine is or whatever, right? But and then you kind of just bid on the card, and you have you just have these great images, and the whole game is like you're looking at these images and be like, okay, for that description I picked this, and okay, for that description I'll pick this, and then I think this one matches best. So it's not a very active, it's not very actively involved, kind of stress-inducing type of game, I would say. I mean, you could definitely get laughing depending on what's happening and stuff, but I think it fits the cozy feels for me. And we actually just played this one on Monday. I introduced new players, so I had the Acme girls over and their kids, and I was like, okay, well, we got a big group. Let's give this one a try. And so funny all weekends because we played a couple of games that day, and they were like, "Oh my god, this one is actually good." It's like, well, yeah. It's like, wow, this one's actually good. It's like, Mom, we need to get this game. Like, and she's like, and then they were saying that about like every game, and then the mom was like, okay, well, like, we can't get all the games.
Yeah.
But it was funny. Awesome. And yeah, so it was a big hit. And again, I know because my family themselves, like half of us love this game. Me and Patrick, we really love this game. Lee, Lily, Jerome, like, do not. And I think it's like the stress of having to figure out
other people's.
Well, not even like, well, I don't know what to say. It's like, well, you know, it's like it's too abstract thinking, I think, for how logical they are, that it's like, what? So they don't enjoy it because of that, but it's just amazing. I really like that one. So that's my number 7, Dixit.
Yeah, I just asked you today, what did you all play on that Monday? And you were talking about this, and I said, oh, I really need to play that again. I've only played it once, and it was not with the right group. Most people hated that game, and I'm like, no way. Like, I actually love those, like, Mysterium Park, all those kind of things, because I have an unusual mind, and most people don't get me when I play those cards. They're like, what in the heck were you thinking? But me and you, remember we played Shadows, what's it called? Shadows over...
Oh, yeah, Amsterdam.
We were on the same wavelength, so I really want to play Dixit with you, because you get my weird mind.
We're both equally crazy. Does. That's great.
He's like, what? How would you even connect those? That doesn't make sense. I'm like, what? It's obvious that there's a kid there and there's some candy and like, or there's a toy, you know, but it's funny what goes through your mind and then what goes through other people's mind. I find that in like just intriguing, just even afterwards talking about it and, you know, connecting them all and you're like, what? It's very neat. But yeah, I want to try that with the right group. That'll be fun. All right. My number 7 is a game that is a Zen-like game. And this one, even in the name, it's called Tranquility. And this is made by James Emerson in 2020. Now this one, you can play on BGA as well, but you can play solo very easily. You are basically just putting cards in order. You have this big giant grid of... Now I can't remember how big the grid is, but the number of cards are from 1 to 80. The grid is not that big because you will not put all the cards in, but you are trying to basically order the cards in like sequential order. You will, maybe there can be 50 cards in there. I can't remember, but what you do is you have a hand of cards and you play 2 and you can place them wherever you want. But if you ever place a card beside another one, you have to pay a card. You pay whatever the difference is. So if I put a 3 beside a 2, I have to pay 1 card. But if I have to end up putting a 5 beside a 2, that's a difference of 3. So I have to pay 3 cards. So there's like a bit of strategy where you have to like place them all, place a whole bunch before you're putting them next to each other, because it's free to just place them random as long as there's no cards next to it. And then the next person does the same thing and you kind of go back and forth. Then you also have these 2 other cards. One is a start card and one is an end card. So the start card is played once per game, and when somebody plays it, it goes in the bottom left corner. And then you have to get rid of 8 cards between however many of you are playing. So you have to kind of think which cards you probably won't need, and you do place them face up so everybody can see which ones they are. So if you get rid of so many, and then you carry on with the game, and then somebody has to have that end card to finish the game. When you've completed the whole grid, then you have to have that end card that goes in the top right corner. There are a bunch of end cards, so you may get rid of a few, but hold on to one throughout the game. It's basically ordering cards. And I don't know why that is so fulfilling about putting cards in order, but I do have another game on my list that has a order theme to it as well. But it is so neat. And the art in it is quite pretty. It's, if you have the physical game, you have these cards that will make the whole border of the grid, and they are just like very Zen-like looking and calm and peaceful. You can add a bunch of different cards to make it more complicated. That will change up the game, which I've only added a few so far, but it's a really good solo game, but it is an awesome like 2-player game. I don't think I've played it at more than 2, but you could. It's very neat, and I really highly recommend this one. He has made another one. It's called Tranquility Ascent, and it's about climbing a mountain, and it's a little bit different. Not as Zen-like and chill. It's a little more complicated, but it hasn't really been talked about much, and neither has this one. I think maybe when it first came out, you heard a bit, but it is really good, and it's very cozy. Like, if you ever just want to... you can play it on the table, but if you ever want to just curl up on the couch with your laptop and play it on BGA, it's a perfect one to just, sit back and chill with. And that's my number 7, Tranquility.
Nice. I don't think I've ever played that one. So
Nope.
Yeah. All right, my number 6. You're boycotting it, but I'm not, because I don't abuse it as much as you do. And that's Azul.
Oh, yeah.
So Azul was published in 2017 by Michael Kiesling. And this is just a game that is so straightforward, so simple, yet so thinky, that it requires you don't need to pull the rule book. You just set it up. Everybody kind of knows how to play, because it's such an easy game to pick up on. And if not, it's a really simple game to teach, and everybody kind of, okay, I understand what we need to do so easily. So it's a game that is very easy to get playing and very easy to learn. But it's interesting. Like, you get involved with this game, and so you have all these tiles, and component wise, the components are great. So you have these starburst shaped tiles that have like these designs on it, and you're creating a mosaic, and you have these different circular tiles, I guess, that you'll be putting them onto, and you can take the ones that you want. But if you go to the first circle, and that's the one that you want to grab from these little, I guess, platform, I'll call them. So each platform has 4 tiles, and you'll be like, okay, I want to take the red tiles, and you take everything on there that are the same color. So if there's 3 red tiles, you take the 3 red tiles, and the odd tiles out that you're not taking gets moved into the middle, and it's kind of like the discard area. So you'll be adding these tiles onto your tableau, and what's interesting with the tableau is you have these different layers. So the top one is a single tile that's going to get moved into. The second one is 2 tiles you need to have so that one can move on. And the other one you need to collect 3 so you can move one on, and so on. And then if you ever have, it's like, okay, great, I really needed the red tiles because I have my bottom one that has 5. I have 2, and I needed to add 3, but I've collected 4. So the 4th tile that you collect goes into the floor, and it's a broken tile, and it's going to be negative points. And then the more negative points you have, the more tiles you have in your negative area. Like the first one is -1, then -1, then -2, and then like they become where they're worth worse or less points, or more negative points, I guess I'm trying to say, the more of them you collect. So you don't want to collect too many of those. And then the next player goes, and then they can take from another platform and take the tiles that they want in there, and then you keep doing that, filling until all the tiles are gone. Then at some point somebody can go into that middle discard area and take tiles from there, but then the same rules apply. If you want the blue tiles and there's 3 there, you got to take all 3. You can't leave any behind. And the first player to get there also takes the first player tile, which automatically give them a -1, but then they get to be the first one to pick next round, which is a big advantage as well. It's just really cool, and you're creating this mosaic grid, and then as soon as you kind of get one row complete, that triggers the end of the game. So you want to like you're trying to just strategically get as much more as you can so you don't trigger the end if you don't have a lot of points yet. And the scoring point is you score every tile's like vertical and horizontal that you've placed. So if you place just a single tile, it's going to be 1 point. But if you place a tile and there's two up and down and there's two side to side, then you're going to score 1, 2, and then 1, 2, so you score 4 points. And it's just a very satisfying, easy to play game, and that's my number 6, Azul.
Yes, I love this. It is so cozy. It's the coziest. And it's so pretty. And it draws people in. If you are ever at a convention, you play this game, and someone has not played it, but they walk by, they stop, they have a look. Oh, what is this? Because it's so intriguing looking. It's awesome.
And I have not met somebody who hasn't liked Azul.
No, I've heard on some, content creators or something, but very few people will say that they do not like this game.
Mm-hmm.
They might choose the second or third version of it, but yeah, I haven't heard too many Azul haters out there because it's just what's to hate about this game.
Exactly, it's the perfect game.
Yep. All right, well, my number 6, I feel might be on your list, and this is my other putting in order cards, and that is Ohanami. And this is made by Stefan Bendorf in 2019. And this one, literally, I think it's a Zen garden you're building, aren't you? It's like,
yeah.
Because you have these 3 columns and it's just cards that you were placing, but you were basically just putting them in order. And depending what cards you place down in each of your gardens, you cannot... so if I put a 50 and then I put a 58 down in one of my gardens, I cannot stick any card in between those two. I can only build off them. Now, other than just doing that, there's 3 rounds, and in each round there's more scoring added on. So like the first round, you were only scoring blue cards, I believe. Blue or green.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, and just the blue.
Just the blue. And then in the second round, you're scoring blue and green. And then in the third round, you're scoring everything. So blue, green, pink, and gray. They do score differently. Like they each have a different amount of points. The pink ones, it depends how many you have, and that will give your points. And the gray, how does the gray score again?
So the gray it scores at the very last round. It's worth so many points as well. Per card. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's neat because you're not just putting these cards in order, you're drafting them. So you have your cards, you choose 2, and then you give them to the player on your left, the rest of the cards. So if it's a 2-player game, me and you played this on our last game day we played together, you know what you're giving them. So, sometimes you'll keep back something you don't really want, but would be perfect for them. Or, you give them the last 2 cards that they cannot place and they just have to toss, because if you can't place them, then they just go bye-bye. And so it's just such a chill game that, I just love I do zen out in this game, just putting things in order. Why is that so zen? I don't know why. Maybe because we like to organize.
Pastel colors too, like the whole thing is relaxing, right?
They're like light pink, light gray, and very light green. Like it's really neat. But this guy also makes The Game, which is another ordering game, which I love. It made my higher list. He makes Quicks, which is a really chill roll and write. He's got the Zen on his brain because they are all very chill and easy games. But yeah, that's my number 6, Ohanami.
Ohanami, yeah. All right, my number 5. With that one, cozy games, I think it just fits the bill so well, and that's Canvas. And with this one, you have these card sleeves. You have 3 card sleeves, and you're collecting these see-through cards. And you're creating a painting that you're going to put together, and you have to get these 3 layers. And depending on what you put on the layers, the bottom symbols attached to the cards are going to cover each other up or going to reveal. So if you put it this way, okay, well, now I have this symbol showing, that symbol showing, and I have this. So, and each time with the game, you'll flip different cards. That gives you different goals. So you're trying to have 2 triangle symbols and 2 square symbols, and then you get to score this ribbon. So they're like awards for your art. Or you can be like, okay, well, these and these needs to be next to each other, and then you would get that symbol. So you're trying to kind of come up with a different layered combination. And the first time I played this with my sister, she got so into making the art. She's like, oh, look at the ballerina. Oh, no, it's raining on her, and that's cool. And it's like, and then she plays like, okay, this is my, and it scored like 1 ribbon. Nothing. She's like, oh yeah, I forgot to look at the symbol. I'm just making paintings. So that's supposed to be secondary.
If you ever get a chance to play with her sister, especially Mel and her sister together, it's hilarious. They just trash each other.
I guess the sibling rivalry, and yeah, you can tell we're like, we don't look alike, really, honestly, until we interact with each other. It's like, oh yeah, they're sisters. But I love playing with her. It's funny. But yeah, so she's like, oh right, yeah, I forgot. Well, it's funny because I bought Canvas secondhand, and I knew she would like it. I was like, and then bought it in Calgary. She picked it up. I was like, go ahead and play it, but she won't learn games. So then she didn't bother. She brought it over. We played the game, and she's like, oh, this is really good. I was like, I know. I knew you would like this. She's like, can I borrow it? I was like, no, you just brought it to me. Well, then, like, I didn't have it till just then. Like, this was my first. Like, no, not yet. It's like, but it's just neat. Like, you're kind of collecting all these cards, and you're trying to create the painting, and then you take, yeah. It's just, and yeah, if you play the way my sister does, where you just put the painting together, it's very relaxing and very satisfying. Yeah. But, so that's my number 5, Canvas. Which was published in 2021 by Jeff Chin and Andrew Nerger.
I'm curious if they have any other games. I'm going to have to look. Well,
there's a second version. Well, they've got 3 Canvas out now.
2 expansions to Canvas.
Are they standalone though? I think they're standalone.
I don't think so. I think you have to have the base game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. But it's neat because they all go into like a panorama. And they all have a little hook on the back of the box. You can literally hang up that box as a painting because that's what it looks like. The box doesn't have any words on it, just this beautiful picture that you can hang up. And I have it sitting on my windowsill because I'm waiting for John to put a nail somewhere in the wall. He won't let me touch the walls. So to hang up Canvas. Good one. Yeah. All right. My number 5 is my last of my medium weight games. The rest are fairly light. And this is Wingspan by Elizabeth Hargrave, made in 2017. This one will always be in my collection, and it is one of my nostalgic, played in my old cafe, one of my first engine building that I absolutely loved. And I can actually remember when I heard about it coming out. And I was never a big bird lover. Like, I did not hate birds or not like them, but I was never really into them. But I thought, well, that's kind of a different theme. And then this guy had got an early copy and he brought it and we all played it. And it was just awesome. I just loved it. And I've loved it ever since. And it's one that keeps, my love keeps growing for it. Every time I play, I'm just like, oh yeah, it's so good. And I've recently played Raising Robots, which is kind of a version of it, but I still like Wingspan better. I think for me, it's the nature and just, she was the original. It just has a different flow to it and the art. And I don't know what it is about it that makes it so zen, because like I said, I was never a real bird lover. I do love reading about them now, like on the cards, the little interesting facts of them. I like looking at them. Like I said, I never hated birds, but this has brought a new light into birds for me. But I just love this game. And I know there's some Wingspan haters out there, which I don't know why you would put a hate to this game, because does it offend you? I don't know. That's a weird thing if this game offends you.
Right?
But it's so good. And it's another one you could literally pull out with almost anyone and, introduce them to gaming. If you had a bird lover in your life, you gotta show them this game. Because it's just so neat. And I mean, they keep adding more birds, it's kind of silly. Do you really need any more cards? Well, of course, if you have the big box, you now do need to fill that box. But it's just one that is very nostalgic to me and just makes me feel cozy when I play it. And that is Wingspan, my number 5.
Yeah, not Wingspan. I think the main complaint people had with it was the themes. Like, who cares about birds? And
That's different.
All the bird watchers are like cringing.
Yeah.
It's funny. One of my friend is a bird watcher.
Oh, really?
I
could see me getting into
birds.
it as a retiree or something.
Too, right? I was teasing her because we were in New Brunswick. She had come on a vacation to New Brunswick with us, and we were going down this path thing where it's like a known bird watcher area too, because of the type of terrain that this was. And then I knew she was a bird watcher, and I'm like, oh, gross, who likes bird watching? And she's like, oh, excuse me. But yeah, I don't know if she's played Wingspan. I'm assuming she has, because she needs to.
She should.
And she needs to own this game if she doesn't. But yeah. Yeah, that's a good pick for sure.
Yeah. And I'm looking
and
forward
then they got
to her.
Wormspan coming now with the dragon themed,
and
which
the
I
art
want.
of that looks gorgeous too.
It looks good. It introduces a few new things to it, so it kind of changes it up.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to try on that one.
I want to try that for sure. You're buying it for sure? Then maybe.
Oh, probably. I'm saving my 3 game for that.
Right.
I may be 2. I can buy 2.
Yeah, we can both buy 2. We've both played 6 of our Shelf of Shame games.
Yeah.
So, but I am trying to not buy in January.
Doing this now, I'm like, it's got to be a worthwhile one.
Yeah. Doesn't it make it like it's got to be, shelf worthy?
Not wasting it on just anything. Like, do you know how many games I had to play for this?
You better be good, Gabe.
All right. My number 4 is kind of going along with the canvas theme, but this is Bob Ross Art of Chill. It's right in the title. It's a cozy game created in 2017 by Prospero Hall. This one is just such a cool one. So, first of all, if you ever watched a Bob Ross TV series, and they're on Netflix, you can. There's no excuse. Go watch it. But he's just like the most mellow guy. And from what I understand, he used to be a drill sergeant. So it's kind of like he went extreme other way to compensate or whatever. But again, he'll just be painting as like, oh, and you know what? Let's put a fluffy cloud and a happy little tree. And it is just like, the whole thing is just so relaxing just watching him. Now, when you play this game, you have all of the Bob Ross paintings are in there because I don't know how many there are, and they're double-sided, so there's a tons of painting in here. You're not going to go through a quarter of them. You're not going to go through a fifth of them. There's that many, so you can play a different painting every time. And then you'll put the painting up, and there's a little Bob Ross wooden meeple thing with his silhouette on there, and he goes along the bottom as well because he's also doing the painting. And the goal is you're trying to do the painting before Bob Ross finishes the painting. And if you do certain elements before he's painted them, you get bonus points for that as well. But in order to paint those different things, you need to have the right paint on your palette, and you need to have the right paintbrush or spatula or whatever that he's using, depending on what you're painting. So if he does the mountains, you would always scrape them on with the spatula, like the metal spatula. Oh. So then you'd have to have that, and then you'd have to have the gray and the blue paint on your palette, and you can have 2 different mixtures going on your palette, and your palette is actually in the shape of a palette. It's cool. But then you'll roll the dice, and then each time you roll the dice it does something different, and sometimes it moves Bob Ross along, sometimes it allows you to get an extra paint, or sometimes it just does something a little different each time. And then what's super cool too is as you get these cards, there's flavor text everywhere, and it has all the different little sayings that Bob Ross would say. You could hear the little 70s mellow tone. Oh, there's no mistakes, only happy little it's the best. It is the best. And then if Bob Ross finishes a painting because he's moved along the bottom before you finished anything or the whole thing, then that painting is gone, a new painting comes out, and now maybe you have complete the wrong paint on your palette, so you got to spend one turn to just wipe off your palette so you can collect the paint you actually, it is neat. It is like to look at it, Bob Ross game, you're gonna expect it's gonna be stupid. It's gonna be one of those mass-produced game that they just slapped on that thing on it, and it's really not. But it is so good. And then you have this little easel, and actually it's called the sexy little easel that you put the painting on. Like, it is good. Bob Ross Art of Chill, just perfect little cozy game.
I have to try this. And you know, Bob Ross has a bit of nostalgia for me because as a kid, I had, like, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. So my brother must have been in school, but this is a memory I have, is that she was like a real busybody. She would like go all day, but she would always have a nap in the afternoon, my mom, like a half-hour nap. And I was such a high-wired kid that I hated napping. Do not make me nap because I want to be awake and I want to live and I want to do all these things. So she would have a nap to Bob Ross. She would put him on. She'd lay down, probably because his voice was so soothing.
Oh, soothing.
And so then I would bring my puzzles or my games out and I'd sit on the floor and I'd have to be quiet because she's napping, but I would sneak to the kitchen and grab a box of cookies or a box of crackers and I'd bring a bunch out and I'd just eat them really quietly and play my games and puzzles and stuff in front of Bob Ross. So he was in the back of my mind all the time. I could hear him. So I'm going to have to watch that series, and I do want to play that sometime. You talk about it a lot. But,
like, me and the boys would pull out Bob Ross Art of Chill and then put it on the TV as well, so he's playing in the background as we're playing the game. Like, it's great. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, my number 4 is Adrift, a puzzle tale. Now, this is by Rita Orloff, made in 2022. This is one of those puzzle-like games that I had started playing last year, the end of last year, and then continued on. This is probably Rita's simplest one, I would say, in my opinion, which is why I like it the best, because it made me feel the smartest, because the other ones I'm still... I did also do Light in the Mist, which was a little bit harder, but and very satisfying as well. But she has the Emerald Flame, which I'm working through, but I find it quite difficult, so I'm going through it slowly. But this one I found to be my level of puzzling. But what it is, so it's they call it a board game, but you're basically going through a tale and trying to figure out all these like word puzzles, picture puzzles. They're so hard to explain, but the art in them. So she has like there's 4 sections in this one, and she has, the art is like a mystical lady, and so each of those pictures has a huge puzzle on it, and you don't even know what the puzzle is. It's not like, this is what you do. You have to look at it and figure out what to do. And so at first you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And then all of a sudden you stare at it for a while and you're like, oh, maybe that's what it is. So it just really puts your brain in another spot where you have to figure out what to do before you do it, instead of always being told, here are the rules and this is what you do. And I really like that, because I am such a black and white person that I don't see a lot of gray. So this is really good for me, because I have to go into the mist and look and dig deep for what is asked of me. And I don't know. It's just, you just have to try this. Everybody's got to try one of these puzzle games. And this is a good place to start.
Nice.
Light in the Mist is a good one too, but this one is so beautiful. And so it starts out simple, so it makes you feel like you're, just a smart person, and then it kind of ramps up to be, I found it difficult near the end, but still satisfying. But that is Adrift, my number 4, a puzzle tale.
Very cool. Yeah, I want to try those ones.
Mm-hmm. You can try this one. I'm not selling it, but I'll let you try it for sure, because I'll always keep it.
Sounds good. All right, my number 2 is called Dandelions.
We're at number 3.
Yeah. How about forget what I said? Be surprised next round. My number 3 is Lotus. And that one was created in 2016 by Jordan and Mandy Goddard. And this one is this isn't one where it's like, it's an area control game. Like it's an area control game, which tends to be a bit more cutthroat. But all of your cards are flower petals, and you're adding them together, and then like the way that they're designed, like is like one flower is a 3-petal flower, and then you stack the cards so that it creates the flower. And once the flower is complete, whoever completes the flower gets all the petals. But whoever has the most petal and influence onto the flower gets the bonus influence point. So, and then, but it's just so pretty. Like when you add the petals and it's like, oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. And then it's like, oh, and then you have the lily over here. And then you have this one that's a 6-petal one. And it's so pretty. Like it is such a beautiful game to put together. And it's just so satisfying the way that you stack the cards and it builds up this flower that you forget that it's cutthroat. Like it has that beauty, pretty component to it that makes, and then it's funny because when I played this one with my sister, she's like, "Are you kidding me? Like you making me play a flower game?" She's like,
and then she loved it.
She's like, "Oh, that was actually really good." It's like because it looks like it's gonna be a fluffy game. You know what I mean? Like it just looks like it's gonna have no substance because it is so pretty, and she's just like, "Oh my god." But then we played, she's like, oh, this was actually really good. And it's a very deeper game than it looks like. But as you're putting it and you have all these flowers that are building onto the table but you know, like, and you're collecting all these petals because then each petal that you collect is going to be worth 1 point. But then each flower that you had influence on, you're going to gain points for that as well. And whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins the game, right? But it's just such neat. I really enjoy that one. That's my number 3, Lotus.
And that goes to show the connection between designer and artist. Sometimes the artist will like really help out the game, you know, whether it's maybe not the strongest in mechanics, whereas the reverse, like it might be a pretty game, but the mechanics really take the game to another level. So you really have to appreciate the artists and designers and the relationship between the two. Like it's not just, hey, I need some art for this game, please put it in there and then done. Like there's some kind of, you know, cool connection there that the artist really is like looking at the game like I need, you know, to do this and vice versa. I'm finding so much more beauty in like games and not just the mechanics and not just the art, but it's just
how the art works along with it. Yeah,
like it's
sure.
just also such a piece of work. Like games are lovely. I haven't played that one. I'll have to try that one for sure.
Yeah, you do. So good.
All right. My number 3 is Nova Luna. And this is made by Uwe Rosenberg and Corne van Moorsel. Now, Uwe also made another one from this. Actually, no, the game I'm talking about was before that. What's it called again? Habitats. And he had said when he made Nova Luna, he took from Habitats and made it more into just an abstract game, which for me, abstract, I don't want theme in it. I want it just to be colors and simple components. And then there's nothing that I'm, you know, I don't know. I just want it to be a simple thing I could put anywhere and not have to think about themes sometimes and just moving pieces of different colors around. And this one does it for me. He's got so many in this line framework and Sagani, and I love them all, but this is my favorite. You are just drafting tiles from around this wheel, and then you're placing them down, and then the next one you're going to put next to it, you're hoping that it'll connect a color that the other tile needs. And maybe the tile you put down needs a color that's on the tile beside it. And as soon as you can satisfy one of the conditions, you just get to put your little disc on there. And it's just a race to put your disc down. And that's it. And sometimes the game is just flows and it's so easy to do. And then sometimes nothing seems to work. But either way, that when I play it, I don't care about winning or losing this game. I just love doing it and trying to satisfy those conditions. And I don't know, it's just one of those games that I could just sit and zen out in and play, and you could sit with people and chat while you're doing it. It's not you don't have to overthink in this game, but I just love it. It's one I can play on the table or BGA too, but I do love this one on the table more so. And that's my number 3, Nova Luna.
Yeah, that one was on my list, but just didn't make the top 9.
Yeah.
Because it was so stressful the first time I played it, because I was trying to figure out what's going on. And Carla's like getting rid of all her tokens, and I have all of mine. I'm like, what am I? I'm missing something here. So it didn't feel zen. Nice, but I guess now it would. So yeah. Okay, my number 2, surprise, is Dandelions. This one was created in 2022 by Takashi Sakao. And this one is cool. And this one is weird. Like, it's 2 to 3 players. Like, you don't often see a 2 to 3 player game. And I don't know if it plays 1, so maybe it's 1 to 3 or 2 to 3. And it's another one of those that you have dice, and they have like a green dice and a brown, a orange dice and a yellow. So it's not all like the normal primary colors. Like, the colors are cool as well. But you have all of these dice, and you roll them, and those are your seeds, your dandelion seeds, and you got to spread them across these gardens and get them to blow around in the garden, trying to have them land on the garden that'll give you the most points. So one garden is like a value of 1. Any seeds there are going to be worth 1 point. 1 is 2, 3, 4, and 5, and so on. So, and you're going to take your dice, and then depending on the pip on it is how far it'll travel from where you are. And then this changes every time, because you roll all your dice only the one time. You don't re-roll them. And then it was like, okay, well then I'm going to play the 6 because I'm here now. And then it's going to land there. But you move you place the dice where you are, but then you move your token over to how many pips it is. And then it kind of changes where the dice are going to land. But if you ever put the dice, okay, well the dice lands here, and it's a 3, but there's other 3s there, and there's like a 3 and a 3 and a 4, then all the 3s move forward as well, because it kind of continues to just like dandelion seed would kind of continue blowing away, right? And so you keep doing that until all your seeds have been placed, and then where they land, each seed is going to be worth the amount of points of the garden value that they're at. But then whoever has the majority also is going to get to count the pips on those dice. And I was like, okay, great. So I've got the majority here. They were all worth this much, but I've got like a 5 and a 6. And so you count the pips, and I get this many points for that. So it's a really interesting dice game, just the way that you roll the dice and to manipulate how they land on this. And it's a simple game. And then it's just kind of deciding, okay, well, I'm over there now, so which dice should I play? Oh, I should play a 2. Oh, I don't have a 2 dice. I didn't roll 2s. Okay, well then maybe I'll play a 3 instead. So, and you're getting the less options as you kind of placing all the dice, but it's just a very simple, very cute game. And that's my number 2, Dandelions.
Nice. I haven't tried this one either. That's a new one, isn't it?
Yeah, 2022.
2022. Nice.
Yeah.
All right, my number 2 is Patchwork, made by Uwe Rosenberg in 2014. So that's back-to-back Uwe with 2 cozy Zen games. This one to me is another nostalgia one that I played early. And I mean, if you at all like Tetris, this is Tetris, the game for 2 people. And it is so fun. It's just a simple game. You're just basically trying to place all your tiles into that square and try to get as many as you can. Of course, you want to get the 7x7 first, so you get that extra point chip. But it's neat how the movement works, because it goes by time again. You go around this rondelle, and you get to choose there's up to 3 tiles next to the little token. And if you can't afford one of them, then you just have to jump ahead with your player pawn and just gain some income and then wait until the next person goes. But the bigger, better tiles are either expensive or they cost more time. So, and sometimes both. So you might want to get cheaper ones at the beginning, but sometimes it's wise to get the bigger ones because they have more income on the tiles. So every time you pass a little income spot, you will gain more. So it's tricky because you have to balance that out. Do I want to move fast or move quite far ahead but gain more income, or do I want to move slow and just build up more tiles but not have much income? I love this game. I've even got 2 versions of it. I had the basic first version and then I just purchased the Valentine's version because it was on sale at Bliss for, I don't know, $10 or something.
Yeah, I was gonna get it and then I missed that sale.
Did you? It's so pretty though. It just has I think it uses chocolates as the income instead of buttons, and the tiles are just a little more Valentine's-y. So I don't usually buy different versions of the same game, but this one I love so much that I did.
And for $10.
And and it's $10.
Yeah.
And then if I ever need to give one away, I have 2 and can do that. But it's such a great game. I love this. And that's my number 2, Patchwork.
Yeah, that one was great. You know what? I bought and gifted this one 3 times before I got my own copy.
Oh, wow.
But it's just a game that's so easy to play, and you don't need a big group. 2 people can play. That it was like an easy one to gift. But
yeah.
All right, my number 1 is a crossover, and that's Ohanami.
Yeah.
Yeah. So created in 2019 by Stefan Bendorf. Last time we played, me and you had the worst garden I've ever created. That was the gappiest thing I've ever seen. Like, I was just the cards. I was like, what is going on? Like, this one is like, from 20 to 55, so I have like a 25-point gap here and I can't fit this in, and yet like it was, oh my god, I've never had cards not go together. But I don't think I scored that badly.
Yeah, I don't think the scores were that out of whack, but
it's like, normally it's neat. You got the card, you take the 2, you put your garden together, you try to get your numbers close together, and then that last game did not feel as relaxing because it was so bad. But it is just such a cool game. Plus, you have all these like almost watercolor type of art that's like all in these pastel colors for the different gardens, and it's just a very soothing game to play. Yeah, my number 1, Ohanami.
Yeah, I knew this one would be on your list. It's Zen the game for sure.
Yep.
Well, my number 1 actually surprised me. I knew it would be on the list because I just played it recently again, but I did not know it would be number 1. You had mentioned playing this at a board game day a couple weeks ago, and so I pulled it out and played it solo, and that is Sagarada.
Ah, yes.
By Adrian Adamson, Adamesu, Daryl Andrews in 2017, and then they have done the Sagarada Artisans that I am currently playing through in 2023. And that might have helped with the whole cozy part because the game itself, like Sagarada, is nostalgia again. I played it at my cafe and I've played it throughout the years. I own it. I will play it solo, and it is such an easy setup to play solo. It's an easy setup to play with people, but there's lots of expansions you can add, which are all good, and they all add some really cool things. But playing through the Artisans, I'm playing with my daughter. So whenever we play 2 games, and it takes us an hour to play 1 game. Normally would take 20 minutes, but we just sit and she tells me everything, like all the things that are going on in her life. So I think that's adding to the whole Sagarada family coziness to me. It's such a pretty game too. You're just building a stained glass window with these colorful dice. It's so simple rules, not simple game, because it sounds like it would be easy, but every time you place a dice, you cannot have the same color or number adjacent to it. So that is tricky because at first you're placing them and you're like, oh, this is easy. Then all of a sudden you look and you're like, oh, I screwed up. I've got 2 threes next to each other. Now what do I do? And so that dice just goes bye-bye. And it's like, you know, you get like a broken window. And it's funny because in the campaign game, you actually draw in a broken glass when you screw up. And it is now a broken window. So you can shade it in all funny. But it's so satisfying, this game. And some people hate this game. I'm not sure why. But I think it's the Sudoku part, the Sudoku lover in me that there's so many of those games. I think I have. I guess that's the only one on this list. But I had in my honorable mentions, there was another one. What was it? Downtown Farmers Market, where you're trying to put them in rows and columns and satisfy things that have to all work together. I just love doing that. And I think that's why I love this one so much. But that's my number 1, Sagarada.
Nice.
Yeah. So that is.
Look at us. We're all like so cozy and because it's like almost, what is the temperature outside? Like
minus 45 with the wind chill.
Minus 45. Yeah.
That's
so we're going to be cozy inside.
Yeah.
This is when you really need your cozy games because don't get.
Exactly.
Don't get all excited and think you're going to do all these things out there. Like, no, stay put.
Hunker down and pull out a bunch of games. I'm actually going to play a whole bunch of solo games now. I have the evening to myself.
Slow games.
Yeah. Stupid autocorrect. I'm like, I'm going to play all these solo games, but it somehow said slow games. And then I read back. I'm like, oh, stupid autocorrect.
I was like, I wonder what makes them slow games. I bet they'll be on the cozy list.
Yeah. Well, one of them, because I just got it, but I have played it in the past. I didn't own it. It's called Chakra. And it would have made this list, I think, if I would have gotten to play it, because you're literally aligning chakras with these little cool
that
gems.
Sounds cool.
Yeah. But it looks neat. So yeah, those are all our cozy games. But you know what? We have some exciting news. We have our 2-year anniversary coming up basically at the end of this month. So our next episode, and we're going to do something special for that. We're going to do an episode of our best only 2-player games. No, at best 2-player only games. So games that are only made for 2 players, not multiplayer games that play best at 2, just only games that are 2 players, which we have lots
games
of.
For 2-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to believe. We were getting ready. It was like, okay, this is episode 85. It's like, can you believe we've done 85 of these now? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's funny because when we first got started with the podcast, we didn't know each other well.
No, not really. Mm-mm.
We had met like once or twice, maybe.
Twice or
Yeah.
But I somehow knew, I'm like, I think we could pull this off, me and you. And so I asked you and you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess we could do that.
Yeah.
And then we found out we have the same birthday. That's so
We
funny.
have the exact same birthday, And then it's funny because I keep talking about Melcon because I always do Melcon around my birthday, and you're like, so when is your birthday? And it was like, it was falling on my birthday. I was like, oh, it's on the 21st. But it's like, well, that's Melcon. But when's your birthday?
But when's your actual birthday? The 21st.
Yeah.
Well, that's my birthday.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing a whole weekend. Can't wait.
Yes.
On our birthday.
Yes, so I booked the Legion and Acme. I kind of held back of doing it here because Acme is so small. But I've had so many people saying, are you doing a Malcon? And when I do it in my house, I'm so limited as to who I can invite. So I booked the Legion, which is great, huge room setup. Plus they have like this big kitchen area. And so it'll be perfect for that. And then, 3. So I've taken the Friday off, which is our birthday. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be kind of from 3:00 on Friday, and then all day Saturday until 5:00 on Sunday, and then get a bunch of gaming in. It's going to be amazing.
Yes. And I'm actually turning 50 this year.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, we're
my
going to have to do
50th.
something.
No, you don't have to do anything. I just meant like it's kind of a milestone for me. So we'll see. But no, I want it to be my best year yet. This is my 50th year, and it's going to be my best.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's exciting.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's what's going to be up next episode.
Yes.
But until then, where can people find you?
So we have our Discord, to be sure to come and see us there. Actually, we've been really active on Discord lately.
Yes.
Bunch of people are posting and commenting and stuff. So it's been very entertaining on there. And then on Facebook, my Facebook page is Mel's Board Game Room. My Instagram is Mel's _boardgame_room. And my YouTube channel is Mel's Board Game Room. How about you, Carla? Where can we find you?
I'm on Instagram at boardgamespecialist, all one word, and I have a Facebook page called Red Deer Board Game Fanatics. I have one more thing to mention. Not sure if you're in the area, but I am hosting another card treat the first weekend in February, the Saturday, Sunday. All your listeners are welcome to come if you would like. It is an all-inclusive, and by that I mean it includes the food and the convention and snacks as well. So you literally don't have to bring any food. It includes the drinks, like coffee, tea, pop, water, whatever. But it is for the whole weekend. It is $100. And I did open up single days this time, so you could come just Saturday or come just Sunday if you want.
Nice.
But if you were interested in that, you could just message me on Instagram or on my Facebook page. You could message me there if you would like to come, but it's always fun. It's a small convention. I cap it at 30 people. So we do have some hosted games that you can sign up for. But there's also open table gaming. There's a little tiny market of used games. There's a little auction of some games for prizes, and it's just a fun time. And it's funny because the last time I had we always have a few new people come, and one of the guys that came, he said like that was the best one I've ever been to. Maybe because it was so small, he preferred those. But he said, I feel like the people here are like handpicked. Like, maybe they are. I don't know, but
kind of are, I guess. But
I think it's because we're all just so like-minded, and we just are all there to play games, and we are just all so inclusive, and it's just a variety of people. Like it's just.
But then,
just so fun.
When you keep it small like that, you get. It just everybody clicks and works so well. Yeah. And then the food is amazing, and then the tables are just perfect size for pretty much every game we've ever played there. And it's worked out so well. It's such a fun event. I'm doing my Acme Legion game day because I'm trying to grow in the area the weekend before. So I'm like, okay. Right. Can I do 2 game weekends in a row without it being like, okay, this is getting too much? So I'm hoping to go. It might have to be just a single day, but I'm just kind of waiting to see how everything kind of builds up. Out,
yeah.
Yeah.
You got a lot of kids' schedules to juggle.
Yeah, because Patrick's birthday is at the end of this month here as well. So and my dad's birthday is the day after. Yes. So yeah, because it's funny, my oldest is born on the same day as my mother. And my youngest is born the day before my dad, but I was induced. So if I wasn't induced, maybe it would have been on the exact same day.
Yeah, probably.
And my dad is like, why didn't you ask him to induce you the next day? And I was like,
I wanted him out.
Well, I was still completely comfortable. I was not like, oh, no. But also, the doctor's birthday is on the 26th, the same as my dad. So maybe he didn't want to induce on his birthday in case he had anything planned. Maybe that's the whole true reason why I was induced at all on the 25th. Yeah. But
that's funny.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of birthdays, it's my sister's birthday today. So it's not going to be by the time this airs. And I'm pretty sure she doesn't listen to our podcast just because
if not, she's just happy birthday. Is it Jenny's?
Ginny, yeah.
Ginny.
So, and now, funny story about that though, because you know how they have celebrity birthdays on the radio?
Yeah.
Well, today is also Jean Chrétien's birthday. former Prime Minister of Canada. So one year when they had those celebrity on the radio, I called her up. I was like, oh my God, it's your birthday and Jean Chrétien's birthday. She's like, who cares? So then on her birthday, every year I would text her happy birthday to you and Jean Chrétien. And one year I was teaching a class. I had 30-some people in my class. I was like, okay, so I post like on the blackboard, happy birthday to you and Jean Chrétien. I was like, everybody grab your phone, get this ready to go. And then I'm going to give you the number to send it to. And then I was like, here's the number. Okay, now wait. We're all going to push send at the same time.
Oh, and she just got a mass.
30 texts came through saying happy birthday to you and Jean Chrétien all at the same time as she's in the drive-thru of Tim Hortons trying to order coffee, and it's coming through her Bluetooth. Oh my God, she was like, she didn't even answer me. She doesn't answer me anymore. She's texting my students like, do not do what my sister tells you to do. Oh, it's funny. So yeah, I sent her happy birthday to you and Jean Chrétien text this morning. And gotta keep it, it takes a lot of effort to bug your sister that much. That shows true love.
Are you the younger sister?
No, she is.
Oh,
I'm the oldest, and my brother is in between the two of us. Yeah.
Gotcha.
All righty.
All right, guys. Well, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, bye everybody.